If you love the look of gorgeous, beautiful, elegant floral cards, but you think you struggle to create them, this video is for you. Hi everyone, I'm Rebecca Keppel. In today's video, I'll be sharing some supplies from the new Yana Smakula collection for Spellbinders. It's called Yana's Daisies. If you've seen any of Yana's cards before, you know she creates the most gorgeous, perfect floral cards. Not just floral cards, but her floral cards are just off the charts. And she creates collections for you to create your own elegant, beautiful, gorgeous floral cards. So first, let's take a look at some of the supplies that I'll be working with today. First up, we have the Crafty Hugs Sentiments. This is a set of BetterPress plates and dies. And remember that you can use your BetterPress to letterpress these sentiments, or you can use your Glimmer machine to foil these sentiments. And then either way, you can cut around them to create that elegant look of that swoopy script, and then also the tiny little perfect straight font. This is the Yana's Daisies dies. You get an outline die that cuts out all those pieces, and then you get the background die. So here I've cut out two of the outlines and I'm not showing you the little pieces inside. I'm not going to do a die cut inlay with this except for the center of the flowers. This is the Molded Frame 3D embossing folder. I absolutely love this. This is a very great subtle background. Daisy Trio BetterPress and stencils here. So this is an A2 size card that you can create. Again, you can BetterPress or you can foil, and then you can color them in with stencils. This is the Daisy Shower BetterPress and stencils. This is a larger size, so you can create a 5x7 card, either in BetterPress or in Glimmer, and then color it in with the stencils. Everything is super easy to use and color in. So let's work with the Glimmer machine first. I love the way that BetterPress plates foil. They are absolutely amazing. So I put the plate down and then warm up the Glimmer machine, and then I place my foil with the color side down facing the plate, and then my cardstock on top of that. And I am using the Spellbinders specialty Glimmer cardstock. I use Hammermill a lot, but when I want it to really be absolutely perfect, I use the specialty paper. It might be a little more expensive, but it is totally worth it because you will get a complete actual coverage of all the foil, no missing spots at all. Okay, so here's that larger BetterPress plate. It's a little bit bigger than the actual center of the Glimmer machine that heats up, but that's okay. So the top and bottom I'll just cut down, and this will be a card that I'll mat on a piece of cardstock. And then I press my plates on top and remove the platform and run it through my die cut machine to foil it up. So this is a really easy way. You wouldn't even necessarily have to use the stencils here. You could absolutely just use these as foiled cards. You can see that, like I mentioned, with that specialty Glimmer paper, that cardstock, you get a really great impression. All of the foil is there. Don't throw out these little pieces. I'm just going to set them to the side, and I'll use one of them at the very end of the video and show you how you can use this scrap piece. Now let's use this new amazing collection to make some cards. For this first card, I'm using the trio of daisies that I foiled. This is an A2 panel, as I mentioned. I have it on a waffle flower grit mat, and then I'll place the first stencil right on top. Now, I accidentally used a large brush with a green ink and colored it all in. I meant to only color in the stems. So I'm going to put a nice bright dark orange on top, and that will give it that definitely orange color, maybe a hint or a tinge of brown, but that's okay for the center of a flower. I think that works perfectly. So once I am done with that, I'll peel off this first stencil, and you can see that slightly brown hint to the flower centers, but that's all right. And then this second stencil has some of the petals of the 3 daisies. So you'll have multicolor flowers where some of the petals are darker or different colors than the other. I'm using different shades of pink here. I love the way pink looks with gold, especially that gold background. I think the pink flowers are going to look just so pretty on that gold. I am using the Spellbinders large blending brushes. They are so soft, so large that they really have a nice soft way of applying the ink, and you can get a really pretty look. I'll trim this down to 4 by 5 1/4 so that I get rid of any of those little ends that maybe I didn't get perfect or weren't straight. And then I'll add that on top of a piece of Spellbinders cardstock. And then I'll take one of my sentiments that I foiled and pop it up on some Spellbinders foam squares. For this next card, I'll start with the Daisy shower background that I used in the Glimmer machine, so it is foiled. Here, the centers of the flowers are covered up, so it's just the stems that I'm inking up here. And then you'll have some of those petals. Now, this is a larger card. I did trim it down because I didn't get the very top of it foiled because of the size of the Glimmer machine. So this again, I can mat on some cardstock, but I am using a few different colors of coral ink this time. Again, coral and gold also look really gorgeous. These just sort of pinks and light oranges, and they look really nice with the gold, but other colors look great too. You can use darker colors, like a dark blue would look really nice. So there are lots of options here, and it's just so easy to color them in because it's just 4 stencils. They're easy to line up and easy to use. So I did cut it down to 5 by 6 3/4 and matted it on some Spellbinders cardstock and added my sentiment with a foam square again. Now I want to use the BetterPress with these plates. So I have an A2 piece of BetterPress cardstock, and I've put it on top of a roll of tape in the center of the platform there. And then I'm inking up the entire plate with dress blues. I think my dress blues needed to be re-inked a little bit because I did run it through a couple of times to get a really dark impression. So I will re-ink that now that I'm thinking of it again. Then I have the same stencils that I used before. I just clean them off really quickly with water, especially these Catherine Pooler inks. They really don't stick on stencils at all because they're water-based and water reactive. So they work really well with stencils. And this time I'm using smaller blending brushes. These are actually by Waffle Flower, and they're detail shader brushes, which are really nice if you're only working on small areas, not the large brush that I was using before. So you can see here, we don't need a large brush to cover up just these tiny little open areas of the stencil. So the smaller shader brushes work really well. And then again, I'm using different shades of the same type of color and then adding a little accent to the stems as well with a slightly darker green. And look at those deep, rich colors on that dark blue background. I cut it down to 4 by 5 1/4 and matted it on some Spellbinders cardstock. I'm so happy that they have a whole rainbow of cardstocks available now. And this time I used one of the letterpressed sentiments popped up and then a few gems in the center of the flower for some shine. This time I'm using the Daisy shower plate, and I actually have a piece that is larger than 5 by 7 taped down to the platform. So I didn't mind putting the tape on the paper because I have a piece of paper that is larger than 5 by 7. So I'll still be able to cut out an entire 5 by 7 edge to edge full bleed image of these daisies. And I love that lighter kind of aqua blue or teal blue or whatever. It just looks so pretty as the background. And then all I'm doing is inking up the daisy centers and the daisy stems. I'm going to keep the actual petals white because I love the look of white flowers with those yellow centers. I cut a strip of Spellbinders cardstock to create like a band so that the sentiment would really stand out because that background has a lot going on with those flowers. And last, I added a few fashion pearls from Spellbinders. For this card, I cut out the dies from this collection. As I mentioned, I'm not going to do die cut inlay for every single petal. I am sure there will be examples of that. That is just beyond my patience right now. So I am just doing the die cut inlay for the center of the flowers, and then the outside is just the little white. And then I added a sentiment and again some pearls on top of that 3D embossing folder, which I love so much. Remember at the beginning when we foiled, I said don't throw out those pieces after you foil the BetterPress plates? I cut one of those pieces down. So this is the scrap foil. This is what was left after I foiled the Daisy shower. And now I'll use it with a plate that is a full rectangle. And once you peel it off, you can see that the foil is all transferred to the paper, but it's the opposite print. So instead of foiling the background, this time we foiled the daisies. And now you're left with a piece of plastic that is completely empty and you can throw it out. So I'll use that 3D embossing folder once again. I just will spritz it with a little bit of water from the Mighty Mister from Spellbinders and place that A2 piece of cardstock right inside this embossing folder. You can see that this is an A2 sized embossing folder, not one of their extra large ones. So this is specifically for an A2 card. And look at how deep that impression is. I love these frames. This one you could use either side. It really has a great impression on both sides. I added a few foam squares around the center of that, and then I'm popping up my foiled piece right on top and adding a sentiment on top of that with some foam squares. So this is a way to get 2 cards out of 1 piece of foil. Of course, Yana has the most amazing examples using this collection on her YouTube channel, so I'll link to that here. And be sure to check out the supply list in the links down below if you want to try your hand at creating some gorgeous daisy floral cards. As always, I want to thank you so much for stopping by and spending time with me today. Please stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you again soon.